then if we start running low, we have to make more.
You know, the more you don't have time to go back and get that. So do it if you can. There's a lot of times I forget.
I go home whenever I get through, when we get through with everything. Most of the time between 5 and 6 hours.
95% of the applications I take in are female. Probably the pay rate, the money, you know, you start people out at minimum wage and, you know, they're working up toward, you know, $4 an hour and it's probably it, I guess. I mean, you're not going to get a man with 2 kids or 3 kids or 1 kid, you know, or even a married. I don't get, you know, married males that come in here that apply for a job. Most of the applications I'm getting now is women, husbands are laid off, that are having to go out in the workforce, you know, because there's no other income coming in. Right now, the coal situation is the worst thing that I'm getting more people right now from, but probably I got, I'd say 1,500 applications.
To our customers, you are Druthers. That's why your job performance and the image you project are so important. This section of the videotape will cover your appearance and the front line. Your responsibility to our customers actually begins before you even arrive at the restaurant. Make sure your uniform is neat and clean and that you're in the proper uniform as outlined in the employee handbook. Remember, you are Druthers.
Enthusiasm is so important. For managers to be enthusiastic in their business is tremendously important. If you go into work this morning and somebody says, well, good morning, how are you? And you say, well I'm wonderful, thanks. You feel different than if you go into work this morning and somebody doesn't acknowledge you. And that's what we call paying mental wages. Well, heck, he loves me. He loves me already. It creates a relationship that is just chock full of loyalty.
I think in the training aid, it's really laid out in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 step procedure.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, we can show you a video.
Or well, for the camera, how about the like the color transparency that shows here step by step how you put together deluxe quarter.
Great. What difference does it make whether the lettuce is on top of the cheese or?
It affects a couple of things. One is it actually affects what you taste. If you dress a sandwich and then you turn it over and take a bite of it, it'll taste a little different than if you hold it right side up. And the other thing is just simply consistency. If we're going to have a product that a customer believes that they like, then it's very useful for the product to be the same every time they get it. So in some cases, it just boils down to something as simple as, let's make it the same way every time, so that we're not reinventing how to dress a deluxe quarter back there with every single employee every single day.
I'm just wondering if you're looking for a different kind of worker in a way than you would have been in one of the old style restaurants.
You're not looking for creativity as much. No, you're looking for somebody that would be, I would think,
that would be more content with following the procedures and the practices and getting their sense of achievement from an area other than being creative about it.
Ideally, though, it'd be great if all employees, well,
It would be ideal if all employees related to the some management qualities, but then, well, obviously what we need is some leaders and some followers.
Our benefits are competitive for our industry, fast food segment of the restaurant industry, but you know, we can't compete with IBM or, you know, places like that.
Why?
Oh, I'd say probably the biggest reason is that they're a multi-billion whatever
Costs.
cost. Yeah, the cost of the benefits.
As you add an expense to the business, you have to pass it along.
See, plus we have a lot of part-time people who aren't really looking. You know, Susie's 16 years old. Her father works in the coal mines. You know, he's got every benefit under the sun. Susie doesn't need benefits.
2 hamburgers and 2 smoked pizzas. Rocky french fries.
Double cherry. Druther has the grill on its left snowing.
Okay, now let's show me a little bit too high up.
You can't keep up with it.
This is big mac and cheese too. That's small.
She's done real good. I didn't do that good the first time.
When I burnt this, dropping hush puppies. Sometimes you go too fast. It splashes down in the grease, splashes back up on them. This, I burnt frying sausage. I get burned a lot. I guess I'm accident prone.
November the 11th will be 7 years. I'll be. Phew. I don't think I'll last 7 more. I think that's long enough. What? No, honey, I did. If you're slow, you get behind, you get in a hole. You don't get your customers out. You got 25, 30 people standing out there, and it's supposed to be fast food. You know, they get mad. And then you get nervous, and you can't do it. From the 1st to the 6th, sometimes half of the month. We're so busy, you can't think. You can't stop for no reason. You don't talk to each other. If you talk to each other, you get behind. So you just do your job. We have to talk and go, you get off, and then we sit down and talk, if we're able. I'm real tired, my feet hurts. And I feel like I've got about 5 pounds of grease on me. Standing over that grill, if you stand over that grill all day, it just feels like it's just going to drip off of you. I don't like to say about my wages, but I do make a living at it. I don't pay rent. I live in my grandfather's place. It belongs to the heirs, but I live in it. My husband's a miner. He worked at Scotia for about 17 years, and they laid him off, so he never did get called back. We had medical insurance that paid everything, and good vacation pay, and we just had everything. Well, we didn't have everything. He had a good job, is what I'm saying. When he got laid off at Scotia, then I went back to work. A lot of people can't make their living. So I feel lucky in a way that I can still work. If I wasn't able to work, look what place I'd be in. Of course, it could change in a week. I don't know. I don't think I can do that kind of work that many more years. Oh, I'm going to hang in there as long as I can, but I'm tired. Hopefully he'll get some work pretty soon, you know. It's been hard. But if the very day he gets a job, I quit. I'd quit that very day.
I write about it just because work is so important, and people express themselves through it and do things and are clever at work, and to take that away is very, to take something really important away from people. About 1/7 of our currently employed labor force worked at McDonald's at some time. Basically, the process is to find out all the skills that used to go into the job, siphon that skill out of the work, and put that skill into the program, and reconstitute the job so that you give it back to somebody so he's doing just small pieces of it. All that thinking is done centrally at Hamburger U. And there is a Hamburger University at McDonald's. They think about it, and then they design a process so that the person on the other end doesn't have to think at all. Just follow the beeps and buzzers.
Welcome McDonald's Country Shorter Lane.
1 small coffee, 1 large orange juice, and 1 small orange juice.
Got some fries to go with that?
No, thank you.
You tell people what to say. You're supposed to say, would you like a drink with that? We want you to push a new product. We want you to push Danish. And so out of that, they begin to create a what you should say. You say, my God, might as well be talking to a machine. People are not becoming stupider. But management is determined that those people will not act like human beings. They have created a pattern of speech that they believe statistically will produce the most sales.
44, thank you,
Funny thing is, the McDonald's staff who think up the systems to automate everybody else have beanbag furniture, and they have think tank settings with waterfalls and pools. This is supposed to help them think creatively about making the other people's jobs uncreative.
You suggestive sell or upsell, like somebody says, I want a McDLT and a Coke, and you say, would you like a large Coke? But you never suggestive sell and upsell on the same order. Every job gets boring. I think it's that way with every job, not just one. It's hard work. You're not supposed to stand around. There's always something to do, if it's sweep or mop the floor or clean the wall. And it gets a little bit easier if you get it all done, and not many customers come in. But then usually when that happens, somebody gets sent home. I've been working about 25 hours a week. At least, if I get a paycheck, I feel like, well, I've accomplished a little bit. This is mine. I earned this, But after a day's work, after I leave my job and come home, I got another job waiting. And that don't stop till bedtime. So I'm exhausted most all the time. Once in a while, I love it when I get a burst of energy. I love it. A man's got it made when it comes to that, because your job don't end, theirs does, a lot of them. I have to see one that their job doesn't end when they come in from work. I'd like to see that. I'll praise him.
Some things about uniformity are good, aren't they? The McDonald's French fries are really uniformly, evenly brown throughout the whole world. And that's because of the fry vat computer. It does lessen the degree that you have to use skill and look and see if they're brown, but it's still a good thing. But the parts that make people have to respond like robots, that I don't like. The system makes you a dime a dozen. And when you can be replaced like a dime a dozen, well, then you feel like a dime a dozen. You get treated like a dime a dozen. I don't mean to imply it's easy in the sense of relaxed, but as far as the management is concerned, it's simple in the sense that you don't learn more as you go along. And if the employee doesn't become more valuable over time, then you don't care about keeping them there. If you don't care about keeping them there, you don't have to treat them very well or pay them very well. And that makes it a valuable form of automation.
Yeah, they told you everything that was expected of you, everything from when they walk in, hi, welcome to Pizza Hut, up to have a nice day, come back see us. You think, did I say that right, or did I remember to tell them this? To me, it took a lot away from me, the kind of person I was. And it made you into the kind of person they wanted you to be, kind of people you had to be to work there.
Y'all ready to order?
Yeah, I got a coupon, 2 personal pan pepperoni pizzas and 2 salads.
Would you like some breadsticks?
We suggest they get the coupons, the personal pans, and pepperoni. Salads, we suggest salads and the cheese sticks. We really push him, cheese sticks.
Breadsticks mostly, yeah.
Breadsticks.
It's been a little bit slow the last couple of weeks, so I'm scheduled for 27 hours this week. An hour, $2.05 plus tips. Yeah. Rough life sometimes, I tell you.
I got paid $2.05 an hour plus my tips. And waitressing's harder work than people think it is. When you see a paycheck for $70 for a week's work, it's pretty bad. A woman as a single parent, she couldn't pay the rent or anything with that. The women have to be getting help from welfare, food stamps or something to get by on what they're making. And we are. The taxpayers are helping. They're paying the Pizza Hut wages.
Well, if their cucumbers aren't thin, then they complain. And their carrots have to be diced to certain size. I dream that I can't get this place open. I can't get enough of this stuff done, and the carrots and the cucumbers and everything's just taking over there everywhere. These prongs and they stuff, and then they get a little bigger like that one. I don't like that. Everything has to be so. Some mornings I wish they'd come in and get it. Three and a half years. Makes me 75. I quit once for this one company we have now took over. I quit for 2 weeks. They took a whole year away from me. So I'm only got a 2 on there now.
About medical.
Yeah, I could do about anything. Pretty sure of that. Where else are you going to get a job in Whitesburg? I guess the guy that's driving around a Mercedes can tell me that, can't he? I mean, these restaurants are making a killing.
A no-win situation. That's what it seems like to me. And as long as people will work for that, then they're going to let them. When the men go out on strike, they realize I'm taking a big chance, by walking out. For standing up for the union, it's just no other way. Unless the waitresses, the cooks, I'm sure the cooks and stuff don't make much better either. To come out, to walk off their job and say, we're not going to do it, they would probably have to form some kind of group to where that other people wouldn't come in and take their jobs, because there's so many people out of work right here right now. When they walk out, there'd probably be a line waiting. But if everybody as a group did something about it, then it might make a difference. I'd love to see it.
weigh all of our dough out too. Personals are 5 ounces. And we've got big toppers at 6 and the smalls 9. Medium 16 and large 25.
Take the dough that she has. I run it to the top of the dough roller. When I get these 10 filled, I take it up. Well, really, I'll wait till I get 100. And this is what makes our personal pans.
Who would believe that a short order cook, remember how skilled a short order cook used to be? That was a person who whistled all the time, or a person who cursed all the time. And he'd be in that restaurant and you kept him on because he really knew what to do. That personality changes from that short order cook with a real temper or a real personality to somebody that's just chopping or patting or dishing it out as fast as they can.
No, they give us different size spoons. Our Supremes get 1 scoop of cheese on the bottom, a scoop of premix, which is green peppers, mushrooms, and onions, 4 pepperonis, and a scoop of our meats.
Another thing that's happening all over the country, the fast food restaurants does is they have no real employees. That goes from fast food restaurants where you're never going to get a full-time job because they don't want to pay the benefits for you. That goes from fast food restaurants all the way up to college professors who are adjuncts, who are hired to teach 1 course, who have no benefits. All over the country, people are working in a way that makes them not a real employee. The most obvious losses of that, of course, are you don't have your medical insurance, and you don't have a pension, and you don't have any security. But another loss is that you're not part of anything.
When they first opened up, Colonel Sanders, I was working there when he came to make sure that everything was going by his rules. Now, I don't think that I would like to work for him. I think he was pretty strict. But, of course, he was there at the restaurant, I'll say, maybe 3 hours that day. And everything that was done in that kitchen, he checked it out. He's gone, but still, they're that strict with it. They're still holding to his rules. The first restaurant I worked in was a big cafeteria right down in the middle of Detroit. That's where I got my experience. And I started out as a cook at 21 years old. Been a cook ever since. Now, I don't care a thing about waiting on people. I'm not a waitress. I really rather cook. Well, it was a lot different than the Kentucky Fried Chicken because everything you've done there, it was done by hand. When these boys would sign up for the Army, the morning that they would have to leave, they would come to this cafeteria for breakfast. We had scrambled eggs and bacon, sausage. We didn't have biscuits. There wasn't no biscuits back then. It was toast. And we would scramble maybe 120 to 140 eggs, maybe for 50 to 60 boys. Fix them a nice plate. Now, just the ordinary restaurants, they let you work 8 hours. But a fast food place, you don't get 40 hours.
Get ready to make coleslaw.
It was 3 years in August that I've been to Kentucky Fried Chicken. No, I don't have no coverage whatsoever. If it really burned on my mind, I guess I could really grieve over it. Don't have no retirement. We're not getting vacation pay. They cut us Social Security. So, other than that, that's about the only benefits we got.
Shake 7 times. You roll it 10 times. Press it 7.
Make sure you don't have any pieces of chicken hanging out on your tray. Check your shortening level. Always make sure it locks in place. That's your end product. You let it drain, then you put it in a warmer and you sell it.
Two and a half years later, Nellie has left Kentucky Fried Chicken. She is now a packer and biscuit maker at Lee's Famous Recipe. She earns 25 cents over the minimum wage and works full-time with no medical insurance or retirement plan. Zelfia was promoted to swing manager at the Hazard McDonald's. She earns 25 cents over the minimum wage and works full-time. She has no medical insurance or retirement plan. Angie quit Pizza Hut and enrolled in a practical nursing program. And Sarita still cooks at Druther's, now owned by Dairy Queen. After 9 years continuous employment, she earns 15 cents over the minimum wage. She works part-time with no medical insurance or retirement plan.
Chicken sandwich. Sarita, I need a beef sandwich, please.
On white bread plain, would you like anything else, ma'am?
Yeah, and I want a diet, something diet plain, a medium, and a medium 7-Up.
Okay, would you like any french fries?
No, that's all.